Move up. He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better, and kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
They'll challenge your authority. They'll try to break your will. They'll push you to the edge of your sanity. Because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, not theirs. Defend it. Who makes the payments? Who cleans it? Who drives it? You do. That's who. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch. Until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn those earrings today. I like those earrings. Gabby has those awesome earrings. I need to ask her where she got those, but that's just what she would want me to do. I'll have Michaela ask her for me.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Yeah, but then Michaela will be like, why don't you just ask her yourself? That's just like Michaela.
Sarah, buckle up.
Michaela's such a great name. I wish I was called Michaela. There's like a dozen Sarahs in my class.
Hey, we're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I forget sometimes because my brain is like busy, you know? I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
Sometimes it can be tough to get through to your kids, but it's not impossible. Always make sure they're wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Remember, you have the keys, you have the power. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Contest the bottom line, the Stone Cold Simpson.
Everybody dies.
Because I'm better than you, and you know it. Woo! Yes, man! What the Rock is cooking.
Now, welcome to Off the Mat with Alex Lowe's, Josh Silverberg, and Lyle Gillen.
Yeah, it's Friday, baby. You know what that means. The only wrestling talk.
You know what it means? It means that we are lied to. We are lied to by our introduction once again.
What do you mean?
Where is Alex Lowe's?
Oh, well.
Who is this man?
You know, we can only
They keep saying that he's part of the show, and I feel lied to.
Well, I'm actually just trying to retweet all this stuff right now. You know, every time I get the retweets from Speedy, it's literally
back,
at 6:01.
When he gets back, he has to sing, "Wake me up before you go."
Happen. Never gonna happen.
Oh, it will happen, and there will not. Then he will be banned from Off the Mat.
He will never. Would you stop it? He's the creator of this freaking show. He's the last one that's getting banned from anything on the show.
He has lost that power.
Last one that's getting
I am now the king of Off the Mat.
You're not. It's not even close.
I am the king.
You're not.
King Lyle. It has a great tune to it, doesn't it?
No, that actually sounds pretty
of pro wrestling. He is the king of the ring.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
I like it.
You're the king of something.
I like it.
You're the king of something. I just can't.
That's going to be our new introduction. We're going to remove the Alex Lowe's part of the introduction, and instead it's going to be, here is your host, Joshua Silverberg, and the king of the ring, Lyle Gillen.
So here's what's going to happen then. Here's the thing. So if you are king, here's what we'll do then. We'll do a little test for you here. I will show up for one of these shows, and you'll do a show by yourself if you're the king.
I can do it. Sure. I'll get a guest on, but sure.
No. He's probably going to call Eddie up. He'll call Eddie or Scott.
No, actually, that's not a bad idea. No, I was going to get Jeff back on. I think that would be a genius idea. Have Jeff on. We could talk for an hour easily.
Jeff will never go on a wrestling show.
I can talk about how...
Jeff will never go on a wrestling show. I talked to Jeff.
No, not your Jeff.
Which Jeff?
Not your Jeff. Jeff Flipman.
Oh, boy. You're going to have him come on.
That would be great. I would talk about how horrible the booking for Wardlow is.
Well,
I think it's terrible. I hate it. I was so boring out of that match.
We do have an interview coming up, so I got to get through this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Off the Mat right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network and on Bodyslam.net, joining you every single Friday from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, I'm your host, Josh Silberg, and Lyle Gillen is with me, of course, as always. Of course, Alex Lowe's not here, but we'll see in the future when he comes back. There's a lot to get to on the show tonight. Before we do that, Here's what you do. If you want to listen to our show and other programs as well, if you have an iPhone, go to the Apple Store, type in WWSRN. If you have an Android, you go to the Google Play Store, you type in Worldwide Sports. It's that simple. You just click free. It is our free app that we have on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. You can listen to our show plus other shows, different clips, read all the great articles we have on there. You can listen to the audio feed if you're driving, or you can have your smart speaker play us as well. And also on bodyslam.net. We are on there as well. One of the best wrestling inside sources in the world today. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. We're all over the place. Well, we have a couple of minutes before our first interviews coming on. We have at 6:15, we have NWA announcer Joe Galli is going to be joining us, which is going to be awesome. And then at 6:40, a guy that's been on the show in the past, Mr. Leo Rush, pro wrestler, and as well as recording artist, Leo Rush. He is going to be joining us at 6:40. So we have a jam-packed show. So we'll do Joe at 6:15 when the interview is done. We'll keep him on till around 6:35-ish. We don't want to. He's very busy. Leo's very busy, so we don't want to keep them on for too long. They're very busy people. So, we're just so appreciative that they're taking the time to be able to come on with us and talk to us about all things professional wrestling that's going on and everything like that. And really, Leo, of course, reached out to me to want to come on the show because he's got something that's dropping next week, which was always a pleasure to have him on. And wanted to get Joe on to get into some stuff with NWA and everything like that. See what's going on. I know they just finished up the pay-per-view Always Ready. So that just got done. I watched bits and pieces of it. I'm a big fan of La Rebellion, one the tag teams in NWA. So I'm a huge fan of them, even though Commonwealth Connection did beat them, which is of course the returning Doug Williams and Harry Smith, now Davey Boy Smith's son, are the new tag champs. So we'll get into all that with Joe. But first things first, before Joe comes on in a couple of minutes, of course, if you haven't heard the news, and that is ginormous, massive news, and that's Vince McMahon is temporarily stepping down as CEO of the WWE with all the allegations and stuff going on. And I mean, Dave Meltzer was on CNN today at 5:00 to discuss it.
Nah.
Well, hold on. Do you hear
that? You hear that?
Yeah. You ever meet Vince? You ever meet Vince McMahon's? You ever meet Vince McMahon's lawyers? I guess you never met his lawyers because you got away with it with the steroid stuff and the Owen Hart stuff. So clearly, his track record in court has been really different. Good. It's actually
he's not getting sued.
No, actually, the Owen Hart stuff was probably the worst.
The board of WWE. The board of WWE is investigating it, and then they're going to vote him off if he is.
Yep.
If they find him guilty.
Well, again, and that's the key. And we don't know all the facts.
I hate him.
We don't know
what he did to Ashley Massaro. Well, wait, hold on. Will Vince McMahon be his own dark side of the ring one day? Because they better do it with the Ashley Massaro stuff. There is some real crazy stuff that he has been accused of in the past.
Well, it's actually kind of crazy. If you look at what's gone on in wrestling the past month, you have the Vince stuff, you have the Sasha Banks release, you have Cody out for 9 months, you have CM Punk getting surgery, you have Bryan Danielson getting hurt, you have Randy Orton getting hurt, MJF stuff going out. Wrestling the last month or so has been as chaotic and as WWE as it's ever been.
If in the past, WWE, when they have something controversial happen, they like to take advantage of it on screen. What they should do is have the Godfather come out and give all his hoes to Vince McMahon.
Well,
that would be amazing. If he came out and he gave all the hoes to Vince McMahon.
But that's the thing. With all the drama and stuff going on,
What?
it's not. It's
Wait,
not
what'd you
just
say?
WWE. It's not just WWE that's having the issues. AEW's having
What'd
their
you
own
say
issues.
about what'd you say about SmackDown?
Vince is starting out the show tonight on SmackDown. He's coming out tonight at 8:00. He's going to start
So
the
all
show.
the hoes are going to join him.
But it's not just WWE that's having the
All of
issues
Godfather's
too.
hoes are going to join him.
It's not just WWE having. It's not just WWE having the issues.
Everyone's having it.
It's AEW has issues as well. Both companies are having issues right now, and to me, I mean, I'll tell you this right now: if Okada's not at Forbidden Door in the next week, to me, the show is crap.
He's not going to be, but the show will be fine. I'm not worried about it.
One guy. It loses a ton of steam, and let me tell you something: that you could have had Will Ospreay wrestle anybody on that roster, and they picked Orange Cassidy, and I was like, really? That's the one you go with? That's who you have Will Ospreay wrestling at Forbidden Door, not Pac, none of that.
It depends. If he wrestles like he did in the past
like
when he was a junior, I think it'll be fine.
I hate it. Absolutely hate it.
Cassidy had a phenomenal match with Pac.
That's fine. That's great. Good for him. You could have had 6 other guys wrestle ahead of Cassidy instead of him against Will freaking Ospreay. To me, and I hate the Jericho match. I don't like that match. To me, it doesn't excite me, period, at all. And what's going to happen now is they're going to cluster. What I'm hearing is a lot of New Japan guys are going to be on Dynamite next week. So they're going to cluster this going into the week of the show. And to me, if Okada's not there, Punk's not there, and who knows about what Omega's doing, but if, say, Omega's not there, to me, the show, it doesn't excite me. It does it.
We still don't know.
Those are massive names that you're losing on that show, period. And
We still don't know who's facing Jay White.
That's the thing. We don't know. And now it could be Omega, but the thing of it is that, man,
It's probably not, but that would be insane.
Think about it. In the last 3 weeks, you had the thought of with CM Punk being there and Okada being there, and these guys being there. That's gone. It's gone. And when they announced Ospreay versus Cassidy, I just put my hands on my head and I said there were 5 or 6 other guys you could have picked. It's Will freaking Ospreay. It's Will Ospreay. And you're having Orange Cassidy be the rep for AEW in that match. Great. He had a very good triple threat match against Kenny Omega and Pac. Wonderful. Good for him. To me, there are other guys that deserve that spot against Will Ospreay, not Orange Cassidy. And it makes no sense. I'm not happy that Andrade's gonna not be at that show either because of the whole CMLL AAA stuff. That annoys the crap out of me because I would have loved to have seen him against Naito in a match. That's not happening now. I'm sorry. To me, and that Jericho match, when what? That was the match. That was the match. I mean, to me, it does nothing for me. This was a card that I felt going into it. There was no way AEW New Japan are going to screw this up. And so far, I've seen the matches so far. 2 out of the 3 to me are like, could Ospreay Cassidy be a good match? Sure, because Will freaking Ospreay's in it. Of course, it could be a great match.
And then you're going to get Roppongi Vice versus Aussie Open. That'll be very good.
And then
you're going to have FTR and versus Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb. Both
Yeah,
of
I'm
those
not a
are
great.
gonna be very good.
I'm not a Great O'Khan fan. That's the thing. That's why to me, I'm not a Great O'Khan.
He's good. That match will be very good.
Jeff Cobb. I love Jeff Cobb. Great O'Khan. I've never been a fan of. So to me,
Name is terrible, but he's solid in the ring.
You know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have our first guest. He has arrived. I will give him the proper due that he deserves. And I got to say, first off, how patient he has been throughout the entire process with all me and him going back and forth. My wife had COVID, had to move things around and everything like that. But he is here, ladies and gentlemen, the voice of NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance, Mr. Joe Galli. How you doing, sir?
Josh, how's the wife? Come on, give me the health
wife
update.
is great, man. She's
that's glad to hear
good.
that.
I missed her because I took care of my 7-month-old for a week by myself, so I missed her.
Child still lives. It's a miracle.
Yeah, I know, right? That's the thing. I survived it. I didn't think I was going to. I didn't think I would. Honestly, I was like a little scared at first. I'm like, I sit there. I said, "So what are you doing? Are you going to quarantine in a bedroom, or are you going?" No, I'm going to go to my sister's house and quarantine there because her sister got sick too. And I was like, "So you're leaving?" Yes. Ah, crap. Okay. No. But no, man, thanks for asking. Everything is great. How are you doing? How's your family doing and everything like that? Every time I look at you on Twitter, you're always traveling, man. You're always all over the place.
Blessed life. It's a blessed life. I mean, we just came back from our loop with the Always Ready pay-per-view and then our tapings in Knoxville and Nashville.
Yep.
Family's great. Life's great. And the NWA's firing on all cylinders, and we're heading straight to NWA 74 in St. Louis. We're going back to the Chase for wrestling at the Chase, and all our titles will be on the line. We're bringing tons of legends in for it. It's going to be even bigger than it was last year.
I was going to say because Always Ready to me, very good show. To me, a tag team that they get recognized, but I don't think they get the due diligence that they deserve, and that's La Rebellion. To me, I think when I look at that team, you see the gimmick that they have with the paint and their style. Like their match with the Briscoes was fantastic. And that's not me. The Briscoes are my favorite tag team. Call it like it is, but still, the La Rebellion is getting up there with me. And then you see now a team of Harry Smith and the returning Doug Williams back winning the tag team belts. What are your thoughts with the way the NWA tag team division is right now? Because under the radar, because obviously we always talk about WWE, Joe, and AEW to an extent, but like we don't talk enough NWA. And when you look at their tag team division, it's real. And now you add Smith and Williams in there. It's a strong group.
It is. It's the whole reason why we're the group that wants to continue on and do things like the Crockett Cup to feature tag team wrestling. I think that it's super important. It's super important to the roots of the NWA as well. Think of all the amazing tag teams that kind of came from there. Even the Rock and Roll Express, and we have one half of that in Ricky Morton, who still wrestles with us, wrestling with his son Kerry Morton. And it's just to be able to see that dynamic and to see that still growing and still evolving. And, Ricky Morton coming out of nowhere and doing Canadian Destroyers at 60 whatever years old is always so impeccable. But I like what you say about La Rebellion. I think that that's pretty undeniable. They are a fantastic tag team. They come with so much charisma. They're so different. They hit so hard. And, there's a lot of different sort of lucha style tag teams out there. But I feel like La Rebellion sort of transcends that. And that's why they're so successful with our brand and our style of fighting, which is so much, hard hitting, more gritty at a certain pace. And they can adapt to that. And that's why they were tag champions for so long and had that absolute banger of a match with the Briscoes. I think it's probably one of my favorite matches I've ever called. So to have them there as a real focal point and at this point now as challengers against the Commonwealth Connection, you got Harry Smith, and Doug Williams, as a team together, this is their first championship together. But if you look, on their Wikipedia pages, IWGP tag team champions, WWE tag team champions, just with different people, but they've known each other for so long. And now they've come together and formed this amazing tag team where you have the ambassador of British wrestling and the absolute powerhouse that is Harry Smith coming in and just leveling the place. And then you've got everybody who's gunning for them at this point. And we've got some, what I guess people would consider lower tier tag teams, guys like the Fixers with Wrecking Ball Legursky and Jay Bradley and everybody who's trying to work their way up, and a lot of sort of homegrown tag teams that we have in the National Wrestling Alliance through, Austin Idol's team with Jordan Clearwater and Marshe Rockett, the Ill Begotten. We've got all these really, really hungry teams, and they all want a shot at that gold. But I mean, at the top of the mountain are two guys that have been everywhere and done everything and won everything that's been put in front of them. And so that's what's so exciting for me with tag team wrestling there. And at this point, I'm not even sure, what we're going to be able to see at NWA 74. Who's going to be challenging them for those belts? Could we see the Briscoes? Could we see La Rebellion? Could we see a team like the OGK, which have made several stops with us? I mean, I feel like the door's really open for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that a lot of wrestling fans out there would be exciting to see who's going to be walking through it.
Go for it, Lyle.
First off, I want to say thank you for coming on. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. But I want to know your opinion because, NWA has a completely different strategy on presenting a wrestling show compared to the both more mainstream style, which is the WWE, the AEW, and how they do it in a big giant arena. What do you think the advantages are of how NWA does it compared to the other promotions, and what do you like about the differences of it?
Well, I think, when you take a look at what studio wrestling is and the intimacy that you get with studio wrestling, and I feel like WWE and AEW, they try to do their version of it when you look at NXT or you look at AEW Dark. But at the same time, I feel like it kind of that interaction and intimacy with the crowd gets washed out a little. Whereas ours is very much more reminiscent of Georgia Championship Wrestling. And you've got people shouting from the crowd, and you've got wrestlers that are interacting with that and having to be improvisational with those people. And I think that that's what makes our brand so special is, yes, everybody wants to be in the 18,000 seat arena, making the millions of dollars and all that other stuff. We're not at that position just yet. So let's take advantage of what we have and the legacy that we have and use what's worked in the past and bring it to a modern audience. And so that's why we could take studio wrestling and put it on platforms like Fight TV, YouTube, or pretty much anywhere else. And you have to understand the other thing is what we do and the product we make is aesthetically, it looks very good, even to people who don't particularly like wrestling, but they're in the television business and they like money. And so they look at what we're making and at the price point that we're making it, and they're like, oh, we could put this anywhere, plug it in, and it's basically plug and play. And I think that that's what's really going to give us an advantage going forward with it. It's not just the look, it's not just the feel, but it's also what we're being able to get for, being able to work in that smaller, tighter environment. And what comes out of that is really something that's just, it's different. I prefer it, obviously, but I'm a little biased. But, it's attractive to a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. And I think that that's what's so important.
I got to ask you, it's a two-parter for me. One is what got you into wanting to do broadcasting, but not even just broadcasting, to do in the wrestling industry. And two, I went through the list today. You have a very tough job because you've had a lot of different partners. Between Tim Storm, Velvet Sky, it goes, with Tyrus and everything like that. You've had so many different voices that you've worked with in the past. So to me, what got you into the broadcasting industry and especially wrestling? And two, how do you maintain to continue to keep the balance and even flow that you have? Because I always hear you on Fight TV, and it just sounds like you have a great connection with no matter who your partner is. And it's tough to do when you're constantly having changes with that.
I'll start with the second question first. And I think that's just because the people that we bring in to do commentary are fantastic. And sometimes it's people like Stu Bennett, a.k.a. Wade Barrett. He never really had done commentary before he came to do it with us at NWA Power. But we kind of just hit it off. And I think I think we just both have such a high level of a passion for this project and a passion for professional wrestling, I should say, more than anything else. And you could watch some other places out there, maybe Monday Night Raw, for example, and the guy that they have doing Elite, he's doing a fantastic job there. But I feel like that there's maybe a slight disconnect where the level of fandom might not be there. And at the end of the day, the commentator is just a broadcaster who's also an incredibly big fan. Could you imagine, if Howard Cosell didn't like boxing, or Joe Buck wasn't a big fan of football? It doesn't matter how good of a broadcaster you are; you have to be a fan of it first, and then you can be elevated in that. Yeah. So to be able to work with guys, especially the time that I got to work with Jim Cornette, no one is a bigger encyclopedia of professional wrestling than him. And I mean, if anybody listens to his podcast knows all about that. But and so it's always great to have this. And I think what we have right now with our core commentary team, with Tim Storm, Velvet Sky, and myself. I think that we're going to see a lot more of that going forward. We want to bring in some other people, for special things. You have a match and Tyrus is in the ring, so we'll bring in Austin Idol to, be Austin Idol. And so that'll be interesting. But we've been playing with it and kind of seeing where everything kind of fits. But I think our core team, me and Tim and Velvet, like we just hit it off. And honestly, there's a lot more fun stuff that happens between the matches that a lot of people never get to see unless you come and see it in person and sit near us. And there's a lot of jokes that get made, and it's a real fun time too. And I think that helps too, because it's not all business. We're just having a good time out there. I like to equate it to playing jazz. We're all just we've got our own instruments, and we're all playing it, and we're all just vibing and finding that rhythm and building a story as it goes along. So it's sort of like that, which I don't know if Billy Corgan would like to equate it that way, being the rock star, but I'm sure he appreciates jazz. I should have jazz conversations with Billy at some point. But, and as far as what got me into being commentary with pro wrestling, so much of the sport of professional wrestling and everything else that happens in every industry, the biggest and most important thing is showing up. And so if you kind of just show up and you show an interest and you show enthusiasm, it doesn't matter if you go to your local professional wrestling, indie show, or if you go to, a mom and pop store or a mechanic shop, if you're interested in like fixing cars for a living. If you just kind of show enthusiasm and interest in stuff, and you have some amount of skill, someone will eventually give you a shot. And so that's what sort of happened with me is the timing just happened to work out very well. I was, like many people who love the sport of professional wrestling, I was one of those, to quote Jim Cornette, outlaw indie mud show wrestlers that were, back in the day. And, this is, very early internet. So there's not a whole lot of footage, thank God, because I was a bad wrestler. But I still loved it. I still trained. I worked in Los Angeles and neighboring areas and all kinds of things like that. And then eventually what happened is I was working in news, and a friend of mine, Brandon Taylor, who at the time was wrestling as the Hobo and now wrestles as Robert Baines and works for New Japan Pro Wrestling in the back. Todd Kennelly, who was working for Dave Marquez's promotion, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, he was leaving to go do TNA Impact. And so there was this open position for a commentary spot, and I was a broadcaster. And I'd been out of the ring for a number of years at that point. But my friend Brandon, who was the champ there, said, why don't you just come by and try it? And I was like, all right, this is one of those things. Let's just show up. So I made the 3.5-hour drive to the venue, and I did some backstage interviews. And the guy who runs that, Dave Marquez, he comes from a broadcast background. And so he took a shining to me. And that was their big show of the year that they call the Red Carpet Rumble, their version of the Royal Rumble. And then the next day, or the next set of tapings was 2 or 3 weeks later, they just sit in the chair. You're doing it. Here you go. Trial by fire. See if you could call it. And so and I was there for a number of years. I was there calling the action with Giant LaQuasto, who's all over. If you watch wrestling on Fight TV, you'll eventually hear his voice because he worked with WWE for a little while, calling 205 and Main Event and places like that. Fantastic guy. Does great stand-up comedy too. Follow him on TikTok. It's hilarious. But so that's where I got my start. And then at that point, this is right when Billy Corgan buys the NWA and Tim Storm's the champion. And so they're doing the 10 Pounds of Gold series, and they're trying to figure out, how do we get this to people? And how do I, Billy Corgan's trying to find a place that he can bring it in and make a deal and make sure that it looks professional. And so he knew Dave Marquez, and Dave Marquez has Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, which is run on KDOC in Los Angeles for, it's got to be close to 10 years at this point. So he has a great setup there. And so we brought Tim Storm in, and that's where the feud started between Tim Storm and Nick Aldis before Nick Aldis won the championship the first time. And so that's when Billy Corgan at the time just got to hear me call a match, and he was in the back. And after the show, he just pulled me aside, which was freaking weird for me. I'm just, a guy. I'm just some kid from the San Fernando Valley. I lost my virginity at 16 in the backseat of a car. Tonight was playing on the radio. So it's like, what's the guy who was playing the song when I was, during my 2 minutes of energy here? He's pulling me aside, and he's like, hey, I like what you're doing. I think you have a good voice. I want you to be a part of the NWA. He's like, I don't know where we're going exactly, but I want you to be a part of it. And he had very, very lofty goals. And now we're at that point. And, the pandemic hit us like a Mack truck, just like it did everybody else. Sure. It derailed a lot of the plans that we had, but we're really on track right now with something that's really great. And that's why it's so wonderful to be able to go to places like Knoxville, which, you know, WWE recently ran there. I think AEW might be running there at some point, but it's still a town that doesn't get a whole lot of professional wrestling, especially compared to like when it used to have it in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. I mean, and I was talking about this, with Joe Kazana, who the Kazana family that was running that Knoxville territory and was integral with Smoky Mountain Wrestling, with Jim Cornette again. But so there's been this, it's like a wrestling desert, you know, and you talk about, you know, food deserts where there's just no grocery stores. Now this is a wrestling desert where a lot of promotions don't come through anymore. So to have that audience come in, and they were just red hot because they were like, you know, this is great, you know, and we were in a venue that, you know, typically, you know, does convention space and weddings and banquets and things like that. But we transformed it into like the NWA arena, and it's kind of cool to do it in these, you know, different venues, and it makes us have a different look than, let's say, you know, your WWEs and your AEWs that are in stadiums or their versions of that. But for us to kind of take and transform these spaces that, you know, people are comfortable going to and having a good time, I mean, it really makes us look different. It really makes us shine. So that was kind of my course into the NWA, and then it just got me to here. And now, you know, I work full time in the sport of professional wrestling. It's great, you know. Billy's
Isn't it
very
great to
open
just
me.
say that? Like, just to say
Yes.
that to yourself. I'm full-time announcer.
Yeah.
But not even just a full-time announcer, Joe. You're a full-time announcer in one of the most prestigious companies on the planet in the National Wrestling Alliance.
I'm humbled to be at this point. You know, you never think that something like this is gonna happen. Like if you would have told, you know, 15-year-old me who's, you know, watching, you know, Raw is War and thinking, oh, you see what JR's doing, you're gonna be doing that, and I'd be like, what? You're high? Like, what are you talking about? That's never gonna happen to me. That's crazy. And to think that I'm doing it, and you know, being the age that I am, I didn't have, you know, the same level of reverence for the NWA until much later in life, to be honest with you. You know, I didn't grow up with that. You know, I'm 35. So it's like, it didn't, I wasn't doing tape trading and trying to find, you know, AWA matches with, you know, Ric Flair or whatever on them. But, you know, the internet's so great, and you just kind of fall into wrestling, and then you just go down I'm sure you guys have done that, where you just kind of go down the rabbit hole, and all of a sudden you're watching wrestling matches from Japan from 40 years ago. And it's like, oh my God, this is so good. You know, like, and then just to kind of have that be like, this is my career now, and doing that and being a broadcaster and stuff. I am living an impossible dream that I didn't think was true. And what's great is that dream is continuing, and we're growing, and we're getting bigger. And I'm hoping we're going to be able to make some really big strides within the next 6 months, 12 months, 2 years. And we're going to be, I think we're going to be expanding to a much larger audience, and we're going to be available in a lot more places for people to be able to see our style and our product. And that's what's really exciting, is all the things that are just on the horizon.
For sure. We're talking really quick before Lyle goes. We're talking to National Wrestling Alliance announcer, Mr. Joe Galli himself. Lyle, you're up, man.
Okay, so I was going to ask one question, but I'm going to put it aside because you brought this guy up. Now, we both agree.
I know where it's going.
He is one of the best, most knowledgeable men in the world. However, I think a lot of people can agree, Jim Cornette, highly racist man. And I want your opinion on what he said on commentary. Right then he left and he got fired. So I want to know what your opinion is of that, and how he is deemed uncancelable with all the horrible stuff he said. With one of the top horrible things he said is saying how Kenny Omega is a pedophile, which is just, I don't know how he hasn't been canceled for that. But I want your opinion on what he said.
The thing is, with the thing, and no, by all means, back in the day, you know, that was a really tumultuous moment for us, and we had to make a decision. That was the decision that the NWA made. And even when he said it, all I did is I just didn't react to it, and I thought that it would just kind of disappear, because it was just another one of his Jim Cornette isms. Yeah. You know, it's not something that he had not said previously in the past, and it's probably something that he says on his own podcast. And I think, you know, you get these people out there, with a certain level of stardom, and they have their own avenues of making money and getting to their audience. And it kind of allows them to say whatever they want. there's plenty of people out there that might describe that they're basically on their own little pirate ship and they're just going to be sailing through the sea and you can't stop them. They're just going to do what they're going to do. And that's the one thing that Jim Cornette has constantly done. And that's being controversial to the point to where if you listen to his podcast, one of them, I can't remember which one, it references the fact that he said Ronnie Garvin blew up like the Challenger. He made a joke about American astronauts dying during a wrestling match. And not only does he, and he has put that part of his history into the intro for his song, the intro song for his thing. So what you have now is a person, and we'll take all the great accolades of Jim Cornette to the side. I'll put all the stuff about, all the years that he worked and the people that he influenced and the people he coached and all of the stuff that he made. But at the end of the day, what you have right now is a controversial person who makes money being controversial. And that used to be something that was, rather normal in American society before cancel culture and stuff like that. You have people, or even just now, you have people out there, your Joe Rogans of the world that want to go ahead and make controversial statements. Joe Rogan of wrestling. Yeah, and so you have these people out there and they have insulated themselves with enough fan base to where they're not only surviving, but one could argue that they're thriving. And it's going to attract a certain level of people to that person all the time. To say that he's racist, I don't know that he is. I couldn't tell you. I have never heard him be racist. I've never heard him like, for instance, all the time we worked professionally, he had no problem putting over African-American wrestlers. So if he was inherently racist, he would bury people like any of the African-Americans that were on our team. Willie Mack. Willie Mack's a good example. Our first national champion, as when we brought the belt back, Jim Cornette was on the call. And he loved Willie Mack. So if Jim Cornette was racist, could he like Willie Mack? I don't think so. Your comment about calling Kenny Omega a pedophile? Absolutely. Absolutely. The guy, he's going to say controversial shit. And if I were Kenny Omega, I don't understand how Kenny Omega hasn't found a lawyer and sued him for slander. Because Kenny Omega's not a pedophile. And to say that he is one, which is a federal crime, then there's your issue. So, but at the end of the day, you're always going to run into controversial people in the sport of professional wrestling. Look at the guy who's been running WWE forever and all the news that's happening today. So everyone who's connected with Vince there's all this different tentacles of stuff that have gone through and all these terrible things that have happened. But what we can do is do better in the future. And we could tell those people that have those positions, you know what, you're going to take a step back. We're going to let someone else do this job now that, you know what, they're either going to do the same job or they're going to do the worst job. But at the very least, we're going to give someone an opportunity that isn't doing something that we believe is morally unconscionable. And that's what we've done. And that's why Jim's not with us, because that decision was made. So we're moving on. And you know what, to be honest, if you think about it this way, when Jim left, we brought in Stu Bennett, who, most people know as Wade Barrett on NXT. Phenomenal. And, phenomenal. And to Stu's credit, I mean, he was so good at it. WWE said, hey, that thing you're doing over there, why don't you come over here and make a lot of money doing it? Yeah. So if all of that didn't happen with Jim, Stu Bennett, God only knows what he'd probably just be doing, action movies and stuff right now. But it also opened him the door to be welcomed back into the WWE universe and do what he continues to do and love. So, everything sort of happens for a reason, I guess I should say.
My last one for me to you, Joe, is we talk about the 10 pounds of gold and everything like that, which to me still to this day is the most beautiful heavyweight championship belt that is in the industry today. I don't care. You could throw a WWE belt, an AEW belt. Doesn't matter.
All those WWE belts are ugly as sin. I'm sorry. I hate them all. I wish
they're so bad.
They had such a good opportunity with the Intercontinental, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna change the look of it." And I was like, "Oh man, that's what you did with it."
But they also the weird thing is too is that with the Intercontinental, they always do photo shoots with the old belt, and they bring the old belt. But then that's the opportunity where
it blows my mind.
Back there, it blows my mind. Exactly. It makes no sense, but. We look at somebody like a Trevor Murdoch, right, who's now, I believe, in his second reign as NWA heavyweight champion. I know Matt Cardona was supposed to be in it, and then the injury thing happened and everything like that. But, of course, we always think of Nick Aldis. who, by the way, Nick Aldis to me is as underrated as there is a professional wrestler in the world today, hands down. And when I see a guy like Trevor Murdoch, Joe, I see a guy that when he was with Garrison Cade, they were doing their thing in WWE, winning tag team championships and all that stuff. And now you see Trevor today thriving in the National Wrestling Alliance. And, you know, my question to you is, when you see somebody like that has come a long way, right? That was at one point a tag team champion, put on the back burner, then let go. There's no trajectory as that point, right? Like you said, when you got your job, there was no trajectory really. It was who knows where anything goes. Trevor got his opportunity. When you see a story like that about a guy like Trevor Murdoch, how just not even from just a fan perspective, but as a professional person-to-person standpoint, when you see that, do you say, man, this guy earned the right to win the championship through all the accolades and everything that he had gone through in his past, and losing one of his good buddies in Garrison Cade as well very suddenly? They were best friends. We don't forget that. What were your thoughts when you see him win that belt again at Always Ready and everything like that?
You know, I love Trevor. He's a great guy all around, a real locker room leader, and just a great example of what a good human being, good family man that he is. And, you know, there's a lot of people out there, you know, if I tried to do a Trevor Murdoch country gimmick, you'd see right through me. But this guy, he lives that life. I mean, you see him.
Do it.
He's spitting tobacco in the back, and like he lives that. That's him. That's so genuine, and that's why people like that succeed in the NWA, is we allow people to be who they are, and to see that person to be able to. You know what it really comes down to is having the talent and the drive. That's so impressive to me, and you see that with a guy like Matt Cardona, who was, you know, always the second banana and the laughing stock in WWE.
Really quick, Joe,
yeah.
Lau and I have said right now, he, in our eyes, is arguably next to MJF, probably the best heel in professional wrestling.
I 100% agree. I 100% agree. And it's heartbreaking to see somebody get an injury like that. But unfortunately, it's wrestling. It's a contact sport. These things will happen. And what could happen after that is maybe he has to come back and maybe he's not a heel anymore. And things will change and things will evolve with the way people perceive someone and see someone. But to be able to see these people who can have a resurgence in their career, especially with us in the NWA, that's what's so great about how diverse our roster is. And not only from, you know, aspect of, you know, women and different races and things like that, but the diversity of a lot of people who have different experiences, people who did have their time in WWE, your Trevor Murdochs, your Tyruses, your Aaron Stevens. And Aaron Stevens is another great example.
I love Aaron Stevens, man. I know he just left too. I love Aaron Stevens.
You know, he says he left.
Yeah, I know.
If you love Aaron Stevens, stick around, because I think he might be hanging out a little while longer.
He pulled the greatest gimmick ever in WWE, being the stunt man for The Miz. I mean, that was perfect.
It was fantastic.
It was fantastic.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant. And what he's done
People
now.
have been wanting him to do that with Elias.
Yeah,
I know. I've seen all the things about it. He could pull it off, especially now. He's also, for those of you who are fans of the show Heels, you expect to see some Aaron Stevens on that. And since he's on that show, and he's got to stand next to guys like Luke Hawx and Nick Aldis, he's been hitting the gym hard, and he's bigger than I think he's ever freaking been in his life. The guy's jacked to the gills. You picked a great time to have your swan song, Aaron, because you're more jacked than we've ever seen.
Yeah, really.
Oh my God. But to go back, like, to be able to see guys like Trevor Murdoch, who, you know, for all intents and purposes, a lot of people would have just seen them thrown in the gutter, and they could have just gone home, got the real estate license and sold homes or something, or opened a car wash or something like that. But he stayed with this business because he's passionate about it. He's passionate about this sport. And to be able to hold that belt. I think the other thing you have to remember with, like, a guy like Trevor Murdoch being trained by Harley Race, the 8-time world heavyweight champion, in my opinion, the best world heavyweight champion we ever had. I know we can argue about that forever and ever. Yeah, we could argue Ric Flair. You could argue anybody. We could be here all day. But to have that direct connection that this was the guy who trained me, this was the belt he had. He held it, and I'm sure if you asked him, he held it for a very short time until Matt Cardona came and took it right out from under him. But for him to get another shot at it, to prove that he can go the distance, that he's not a transitional champion, it's really exciting to see that. And it's exciting to see the style of wrestler that he is because, Trevor Murdoch, especially the age that he is now and the body type that he is now, he would never get an opportunity in a place like WWE. He doesn't have that physique that they're used to, that, your Chris Adonis physique of a guy that you have. But you do have a guy who you believe is tough. And if you got into a bar fight with him, you'd lose all your teeth. And that's the guy Trevor Murdoch is. And that's why I think he's such a great representation of what it means to be a champion in the NWA or anywhere in the world. And it's going to be exciting to see how it's going to develop, especially as we get back to NWA 74, which is in St. Louis, in his hometown. If he can hold on to Sweet Charlotte, he'll be defending that championship in the same building, in the same town as the place that he won it the first time, which is fantastic.
That's awesome. Well, Joe, listen, thank you so much for coming on with us this evening. We really appreciate it. I'm sorry about all the delays and everything that have gone back and forth and everything. We want you back on the show again. Do not be a stranger. We'd love to. There's so much more we could talk hours about the NWA World Championship. And you know what? Homework. Next time I get you back on, I think we're gonna compare a top 5 list. I think the top 5 NWA heavyweight champions.
Well, I'm down.
I'm on it.
I think that would be a great thing.
I'll bring a case of beer because we're gonna be here a while.
You're gonna bring the. Where's my fridge? I got my fridge next to me, so Joe, before we let you go,
I got a fridge next to me.
Joe, before we let you go, how can the fans find you on social media and all that, everything you're doing online and all that?
The best way is just find me on Twitter at Joe Galley News. I got it on your screen there. And I think the most important thing anybody can do is just stay tuned to the NWA social media accounts. Go to nwatix.com where tickets are already on sale for night 1 and night 2 of NWA 74, coming to you from the Chase Park Plaza Hotel, Wrestling at the Chase. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, whether you're in the St. Louis area or you would need to travel to it, it's a phenomenal place to do it. I would also recommend staying at the Chase because there's nothing better than going and seeing a great show. And then you just go to the bar and everybody's having a good time at the bar. And then you head straight up to your room. You don't need to go anywhere. You save on the Uber is what I'm saying. So it's a really cool venue. It's a really cool venue. It's a really cool experience. It's very different. You won't have an experience in wrestling like this anywhere else in the world. And so I really want to, push people. Tickets are on sale now. They're going to go fast. And then we're going to be announcing a lot of these matches in the coming weeks as we get our episodes of Power and episodes of NWSA that, if you subscribe on Fight TV or follow the NWA on YouTube, you subscribe to us there, you're going to see some of the best wrestling on God's green earth.
Joe Galley, ladies and gentlemen, National Wrestling Alliance announcer, the voice of the NWA. Joe, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We greatly appreciate it. We will talk to you real soon. We want you back on. Don't be a stranger, all right?
Love you, Josh. Love you, Lyle. Have a great night.
Love you, man. Have a good night, all right? Thanks a lot.
Night.
Joe
See ya.
Galley, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we were going to go to a break, but we have a guest waiting. He hasn't been here in a while, and he reached out to me, and I was truly honored by it, honestly, and everything like that. So do we want to go to a quick commercial break for a second, Lyle? Do you need to go for a quick second? We'll bring him in after.
Bring him right in.
All right, Speedy, bring him on in. Bring the man in, all right? Because, it's been a while. We got to reacquaint ourselves, get our tracks on gear and everything like that, all that good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, how many nicknames we've got? Man of the Hour. Well, come on, Leo. I lose track.
Yes, sir. Hey, guys, appreciate you for having me.
Oh, man, always, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, professional wrestler, recording artist. The man does it all. He's been in AEW, New Japan, MLW, WWE, all over the place. Leo Rush. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, man. I'm feeling good too. Thank you.
I can see it on your face. I could see. You know why? Because you're on Western time. We didn't call you at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning this time.
Yeah.
See, that's it. So, first off, because I eventually, when Leo does come to New York, I told Leo this, I definitely want to get together and everything like that, sorts, and just catch up and do everything like that. Not even talk about wrestling, right? They just family stuff and everything. Because listen, Leo's got kids too, man, and I have a 7-month-old. Leo knows this, and everything. So I'm trying to get the father brain in my head at this point, because my wife had COVID a few weeks ago, and we just had Joe Galley on from NWA, and I had to delay him because I had to watch my son. Lyle knows my son, and me as a father by myself for a week feels like a month, because he's 7 months. He just rambles, and I don't know what he's saying. So I'm just like, dude, what are you talking about? He sounds like a gremlin. It's just But first off, Leo, how are you? How's the family? How's everything going with that?
Everybody's good, man. Kids are healthy. Wife is healthy. Everybody's happy. Doing really good. Appreciate you for asking.
Of course. I need that chair you got too, by the way. I got to get that.
Yeah, sick chair.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. Is that like a video? Is that like a gamer chair?
Yeah, it's a gamer's chair.
Oh, dude, I got to get a gamer chair.
I bought it for my Twitch streaming. Set up the Twitch account, but I haven't had my first Twitch stream yet. So I'm just getting the chair warmed up and ready.
That's what you got to find that spot. You got to plop it in. You got to settle it like Homer Simpson does on the couch.
Exactly.
You got to find that spot. That's what it comes down to. But
just breaking it in, man.
Oh, that's exactly it. I forget. We Phil Stamper came on our show a few months ago, and I asked him the same question: "Where'd you get the gamer chair from?" He never sent it to me after he said he would. So But Leo, I know you reached out the other day, and I did see it too. You do have a big project that's coming up next week. We want to get into that with you, and of course, talk all things wrestling that's going on too. I mean, this month has just been wild in professional wrestling, and we have a lot we want to ask for sure. But we definitely want to talk to you about your project that's coming out. I believe it's coming next week, right?
Yes, sir. On the 24th, June
on the 24th. Perfect. So let's tell the fans what it is that you worked on and everything like that with the album and all about you with the music and everything that I know going on. Because the last time we spoke, you were into it and everything like that. But now you got this awesome album coming out next week. Tell the fans all about it.
Yeah. So about a year ago, I put out my EP, Not Found, the first Not Found, and that was done, independently, and it caught some good traction, and it led to me signing my first music deal with Thump Records and Virgin Music and UMG. So I'm putting out my second EP, Not Found 2, and I'm super excited about it, man. Coming out June 24th. It'll be another 5 tracks, just like the first EP. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to my fans, hearing my growth within my music, within the lyrics, within the music itself. So I'm pretty pumped.
Love it. And the thing now, you said obviously with 5 tracks a day, how long did this album take to create, and what gave you the influence for the songs that you created and all that?
Yeah, first my inspiration for this project, Not Found 2, kind of stems from the first project of moving to LA. Having certain fears with being involved in the music industry and the entertainment industry, while being a family man and being such like an introverted kind of person, putting myself out there and stepping out of my comfort zone. So yeah, this is this has everything to do with, pretty much what I go through in my personal life and my day-to-day, how I think, my mindset, and how I want to move forward in life, as an artist and as a man. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it coming out. I've been working on this for about a year. Not purposely though. I think my injury set me back a little bit.
Yeah, that would mean, yeah.
Yeah, my injury set me back a little bit. This was originally supposed to be a Valentine's Day project that ended up getting pushed back, and some things got moved around, some things got swapped and switched out. So now I have Not Found 2, which is going to be my first project being distributed through the labels that I have to deal with. So I'm super excited, man.
Before Lyle goes, are you going to be touring anywhere? Are you going to be going to any places to do your music?
Some dates are being set up right now. I do know that I have
Awesome.
an Ontario date in Canada. So that's the only date that's confirmed as of right now. But me and my team have been working on setting up a tour, a tour for Not Found as a whole, combining the two EPs to make kind of one album. And I think that's going to be really cool once that's situated and those dates are posted. So definitely be on the lookout and stay tuned for some dates to hopefully be posted within the next.
So when you come to New York, I expect front row seats. I want VIP status. I want
Little
backstage
service. Little service.
passes. I want the whole thing. That's what I want when I come.
You got it. Backstage, VIP.
I want it all.
Bring your own.
I want everything. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna wear my Black Heart shirt when I go. Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I do. Lyle knows I do have the one with the eyes on it from Pro Wrestling. I got it. Yeah,
Yes, he does.
I do.
You can only wear it to the show if you come up singing the hums. You gotta.
Oh man,
Got to.
that's it, dude. That's so. It was so funny when I heard that when the Blackheart character was out. I heard that song. I just kept putting it on repeat shuffle over and over and over and over and over again. And my wife was like, "It's a great song, but you've heard this song like 4 times already." You know what I'm saying? Like this is like. She didn't know what was going on. But I do like the hum part. That to me is a very creative part of it. The whole character itself to me is unbelievable.
Appreciate it.
It's unique and it's different. And with the paint and just adding, with the eyes and everything, with the paint over here on the chest area and stuff like that, it just adds a certain uniqueness to the character of what you. And I was obviously I would love to see that character again. Not that I don't love you the way you are, I do, but that is like you think of like the Finn Balor character, right? When he's the demon every now and then, you bring it out every now and then, you don't oversaturate it. So I would, that character ever comes out again, I'll be tuning in. Right, I'll be one of the first ones to be tuning into that for sure.
Appreciate it.
I'll let Lyle take over now.
Now, I saw you at GCW. Nice to see you again. But I wanted to ask you now, where can I listen to this? Is it going to be distributed in stores also, like on CD, on vinyl? Is it going to only be on like Spotify and stuff, or where will I be able to listen to this and purchase it?
It will be available for CD and vinyl, and that all of that will be up on my website as well. But if you want to check out my music, past projects, current projects, the one that's about to come out now, Not Found 2, you can go to my website, leorush.com, and you'd be able to see, all of the platforms that the project is going to be streamed and available for download.
Go for it, Lyle.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Yeah. Don't throw any like fastballs right away. Okay, let's give him a nice easy one first.
Okay, I'm gonna.
He's gonna throw you a fastball. I know.
I don't need to. Okay. The doozies, I'm gonna wait till the end, but I want your opinion or your experience, I should say. What was it like in the AEW locker room right after Cody left, and while that was happening with all the rumors that his contract was up? What was the locker room like, and did people expect him to leave? What was going on back there?
Oh, I have no idea. I actually departed from the company before that even happened, but I do remember seeing all of that transpire online. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. It's a tricky thing with wrestling because, this day and age, you never know what's real, what's not. I feel like, who knows? I don't know. I'm here for, I would say that I'm here for the journey, and for the ride with everybody else. But, I feel like I got off that ride a long time ago. I don't want to ride the ride anymore. So I'm focused on me and what I got going on. But it definitely seems like a very interesting situation, and I mean one that was exciting, and got the wrestling world talking. Something super unexpected, and I feel like that is what's missing in wrestling nowadays. I feel like a lot of people know what's going on at all times. And that was definitely something that was unexpected, and it shook up the wrestling world. So, good for him.
I gotta ask you, you were in the WWE locker room and everything like that. You're hearing, I mean, it's one of the biggest stories that's out there today. I mean, Dave Meltzer was on CNN today talking about it. It's crazy. Vince McMahon stepping down as CEO of the WWE. It's just a wild, wild thing that, and we were talking to Joe Galley about it before too. It's just a wild sequence how this happened. Like, what were your thoughts when I know how busy you are and stuff like that, but like, what were like, you go, wow, Vince has stepped down as CEO of the WWE. That's crazy. That's something we thought he'd be there till he was gone and kicked the bucket and passed, but he stepped down. It's just Leo, it's a crazy thing to even, as a wrestler or a wrestling fan, that you never thought you'd see.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting headline. I mean, and like I said, we have no idea what's going on. We have no clue. And with as big as the story is, it's definitely it feels almost impossible to even talk about it, because we don't know.
Dave Meltzer was on CNN today talking about it. That's a wild sequence in itself that a wrestling reporter is on CNN talking about this.
No, for sure. It's
Did he clean his room finally?
Crazy right now, for sure.
Yeah. Go for it, Lyle.
Josh stole one of my questions, so I'm going to go.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
Another one. If you don't want to answer, if you don't want to ask it or answer it, I'm sorry. That's no problem. We won't make you answer it. What happened?
He's smiling already. Look at Leo. He's already like
you and Tony Khan after you asked him to apologize for the Big Swole stuff. What happened between you and Tony Khan after that, in the aftermath of it?
Oh, nothing really happened. I think a lot of people would like to get riled up, on social media because they see one thing and that's the story that they want to stick with. And I understand that, as a wrestling fan, I get it. But just like I don't know what's going on in everybody else's business within wrestling, fans don't know what's going on in some of the wrestlers' business. What's put out there. What's put out there is put out there, and it's not the whole and entire story, but that's what the story that people like to run with. So I mean, everything is fine, and everything has been fine. It was just one of those things where it was unfortunate that what was going on publicly was around the same time where I knew that my time was coming to an end anyways. So yeah, me and Tony are fine though. Me and Tony are A-okay.
Awesome. I want to get back to your music really quickly. What is this something that, like, would you take a step back from the wrestling aspect of it and focus generally just on music for as long as you want to? One, and two, what got you fully into wanting to do this, to get into the music industry?
I think me wanting to be a part of the music industry. I never really wanted to be a part of the music industry. I just wanted to do music. I wanted that creative outlet, other than wrestling. And I needed something new. And personally, music was helping me find who I was, as a person and figure out who I am as a father and, as a husband and, everything else. I definitely think that it was something that was therapeutic for me, and it took my mind off of wrestling. It it gave me a platform to, take that negative energy or whatever it was that I was going through in my life and putting it into something positive, and that being my music. So, yeah. And with it right now, me taking this break from wrestling is much needed, even outside of my shoulder injury. I like being able to look at wrestling from this new perspective, and it gives me clarity on, if I want to continue to be a part of the wrestling business, which I do, and how extensively do I want to be involved within the music industry. And I just want to do music. So however far that takes me, if that, drifts me away from the wrestling industry, then so be it. But my love for wrestling, that doesn't mean that my love for wrestling has changed, or my want to be in the ring. That I feel like that's always going to be there. I'm an athlete, and I've been an athlete my entire life. So I don't think that's going to go anywhere. But I'm enjoying what I'm going through right now with my music and my music journey. And it's exciting to experience where it's taken me, because I never, imagined that it would take me as far as it did currently. And especially as quick as it has. So I'm looking forward to the project being out on the 24th and seeing what comes from that. And move from there.
I haven't listened to it in a while. Are you still doing the podcast with your wife?
I'm not. No.
I love that podcast. That was so freaking
That was a good
fun.
show.
I appreciate it. That's awesome to hear. Maybe one of these days we'll pick it back up.
You got to get it back.
Definitely
That was so freaking. I mean, half the stuff was hysterical. I mean, I'm like listening to even my wife says to me, I'm listening to this, and she goes, "What are you listening to?" And I'll say, she hears you say something, and then she goes like this. She goes, like she just starts blank. She goes, "I'm out."
That's awesome. Man. That's awesome to hear. I'm glad that you enjoyed that.
No, but it's. Really, before Lyle goes, it is true what you say, and Lyle and I obviously have a different perspective. We're not professional wrestlers; we're fans. But you being a professional wrestler, you being able to see all these brands and these companies work, it does give you, as you said, the unique word is clarity, because you're being able to now see directions of certain wrestlers, and you're seeing how the creativity can go, and especially now, Leo, because of all these injuries that are happening.
Yeah.
With Punk and Danielson and Omega, and then Cody and Randy Orton and all these guys. Now you're seeing these companies have to be beyond unique. And I feel like if you see something that, gives you a spark, and you say, oh, maybe that could be a good spot for me to go to maybe in the future, that might be where I'm comfortable then, because I'm seeing what they're doing during this tumultuous situation of all these injuries. Now I'm looking at it, and there is creativity here that this can go somewhere. I think that's so. In your perspective, I think it's a fantastic idea that you're doing this, because you're really getting to see what these owners can bring out when certain situations happen.
Yes.
And I think that shows their true colors in the future.
Absolutely.
Go for it, Lyle.
I'm going to go back to talking music also. I don't want to throw you to ground fastballs the whole time. So
no, he's the best, man. DeGrom's the best when he's not hurt.
So who was your inspiration for your music? I feel like everyone in entertainment, consciously or subconsciously, they are inspired or in some ways try and emulate somebody. Now, is there anyone you try and emulate, or you inspired your work in particular?
I really like unique voices, and people that are so out there with who they are and proud of, who they are as individuals. People that really stand out to me. I like. Right now, I'm pretty big on 070 Shake. I'm big on, Post Malone, St. John. I love Drake's new album that just came out. It's so different. I see a lot of people saying that they don't they don't like what they're hearing, but it's You know, it's an interesting sound. I like music that's interesting and a good, you know, face and artist to match that sound that complements that well. So yeah, I just like unique artists and people that believe in themselves and aren't afraid to put themselves out there and say, you know, this is me. I know that it's not the norm, but I'm not shying away from who I am and accept that. So, and I feel like I resonate with that a lot. I feel like I've always kind of gone against the grain and went the opposite direction when it came to me in the wrestling industry. So, yeah.
We're talking to a professional wrestler and hip hop artist right here, Lio Rush, joining us this evening, and we won't keep him on for too much longer. I know how busy he is and everything like that. But Lyle, you were going to say something.
Who was your favorite growing up? Who did you like? Who was the one who had most songs in your iPod or whatever you used? Whatever you used for your music. Who was
an iPod?
Yeah. Who was your favorite artist growing up?
Man, my taste has been like all over the place, you know, as a kid, because I've experienced so many different things. You know, I went through a heavy, you know, screamo phase.
You would have been best friends with my wife then.
I went through a huge, you know, heavy metal, like rock screamo phase. And, you know, I love like dubstep music. I remember I was super into dubstep music at one point, and
was I, as weird as that is by me.
I love, you know, R&B. I love, you know, hip hop, rap. So my taste has always been all over the place. I never really listened to country music all that much, but I remember two artists that I would listen to pretty regularly. I remember listening to Michael Jackson a lot. I remember listening to Chris Brown a lot. I remember listening to Drake a lot. Lil Wayne, Eminem, Kanye, Kid Cudi, Lupe Fiasco, Odd Future. Yeah.
You like the halftime show this year for the football?
I did.
saw
What an incredible! That was such an incredible moment. That was pretty big. So I'm glad that I got a chance to, you know, watch that live. I normally don't.
That was awesome.
A chance to watch, you know, sporting events, you know, live. I'm always like looking at like highlights and stuff like that. So I'm glad that I was able.
It made me feel old. Did it make you feel old? Did it make you feel old watching it? It made me feel really old.
Who, me?
Yeah, because it made me feel old watching that. Because I was like, man, like these are the guys that grew up like, man, like, and everybody's like saying, who's? It was so funny. I was like looking on Twitter. People were like, "Who's this guy?" I don't know, like who this person was. I'm like, guys, what are you talking about? You don't know who Eminem is. You don't know who Snoop Dogg is. Really? What's wrong with you people?
That was cool to see like those different generations of, you know, rappers like that too.
Yeah.
From Kendrick to Eminem to Snoop to Dre. Like it was cool to see them all on one stage.
Yeah.
50 Cent going upside down. That was awesome.
50.
That was great.
That was great. I mean, I'm watching, I'm going, this is awesome. And then I have like my son's in the other room. I'm like, I feel old. You know what I'm saying? You know what, really quick, you know what it makes me start to feel old? I started feeling old when I'm watching the NFL draft and like these NFL prospects are like 9 years younger than me. And I'm just like, this is disgusting. I don't know what I did with myself. Like, this is horrible. You know, like I tell my wife that all the time. Like, this is like, I got a 19, like Juan Soto came up playing baseball. He was what, 19, 20? I mean, it's gross. What was I doing? Like, what is wrong with me? Like, it's horrible. But like, my question for you, Leo, is I got one more for you. And that's, we know the last couple of years you've been in a lot of different companies, and I alluded to them with AEW, New Japan, WWE, MLW. You also, you also did some GCW stuff and everything like that, and all those different brands. Could you see yourself maybe? Because I feel like you're the type of guy that you'll sign a contract, but you want to give it like a trial run. You want to see how it goes. How does it flow? Will I fit here in the time that I have, or would you want to sign something and say, yeah, I feel this. This is where I want to be long term, because I understand you wanting to sign a short term deal just so you can kind of feel out the product. You want to make sure that you're doing the best for you and your family and for your own self, because if you're not happy, Leo, it's going to be a sucky situation then stuck in that contract.
No, for sure. I mean, I guess when you say that, but I've never gone into a situation like that before.
Yeah.
Of saying, you know, I want to test. I want to test.
Sure.
Run, test try. I've never gone into any situation like that. But I am glad that I've been able to work on these short-term deals like I've been doing with other companies and other promotions. And I guess, I don't know, I feel like I've always been the kind of person that likes to see the resume. And I've always, I haven't been too fond of, you know, staying in one place for too long. I like to build my resume. I like to put things on my resume. You know, and especially with how many opportunities there are within wrestling right now, I feel like, to me, it doesn't really make too much sense. Maybe at a different point in my career, I'd want to, you know, lock myself down to a deal. But you know, like you said, as of late, you've seen me, you know, in this promotion for a short amount of time, and that promotion.
And it's not a bad thing, Leo. It's not a bad thing.
And it's deliberate.
It's not. It's you. It's like you said, you're building your resume, and you have the uber amount of talent to, no matter what promotion you go to, you've been successful at every promotion.
And I'm 27, so I'm in no rush.
See what I mean? Now I feel really old, man. You're younger than me.
No
like,
pun
what is this?
No pun intended. But
I'm 31.
I mean, yeah. No, but I feel like over the last 2 years, I've been building a pretty good relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and that is a place where I can see myself and I can see myself thrive. So, you know, I'd love to be there as a mainstay when I am healed up and ready to go. So yeah, I like doing it all, man. I like experiencing different companies and how things are ran, and the different audiences and fan bases, because they are different. You know, they're fans that only watch WWE. There are fans that only watch AEW. There are fans that only watch Impact. You know, and that's because each company is different. It's not by, you know, coincidence that they have separate fan bases. So I want to be able to experience that as a performer and as a worker. Like, okay, why do fans like this product so much? I want to find that out for myself.
Sure.
Do you find that because the New Japan fan base, a lot of it is the fan of the pure wrestling. Do you find portraying yourself to that fan base? What do you think is the challenges trying to portray yourself to them compared to the AEW and WWE fan base?
You said the challenge?
Yeah, because that fan base, the hardcore New Japan fan bases, they are insane. I've talked to some of them before, and they can be. Yeah. Like, WWE fans are toxic, but oh boy, the hardcore Puro fan.
No, I you know, I maybe I don't see it yet because I'm not there. But I'm sure once my name gets circulating, I'll start to notice the differences between each set of fan bases. But you know, I try not to even harp on that too much. I feel like I did a lot when I was in WWE. So worried about, you know, what somebody is saying about me or to
yourself, whatever
the case may be. But you know, the longer you do this, the longer you start to realize that it doesn't matter what you do. You know, people are going to have difference of opinions and like separate things and go about things differently. So I just try to stay the course and do what I do and continue to be myself. And if people, you know, like that, then hell yeah. If they don't, who gives a shit?
Right.
I love that.
Show the door and
that.
they see ya. That's what I would say. Last, really quick. So you say New Japan. Like, could you see yourself moving to Japan, Or do you say, like, would you still stay with, like, the New Japan strong stuff? Like, what would be ideal for you?
I could see myself moving to Japan. I think I've done a lot of traveling at a very young age, and I feel like I've made it. I've made it to the point where I feel comfortable and I feel my most self when I'm on the road traveling and when I'm busy and out of the country and doing things that are out of the norm. So I'd love to experience Japan 100%. You know, yes, the tours are dope. The tours are pretty cool from what I can see. You know, I haven't experienced one as of yet, but I'd love to be there, you know, full time and just experience a different culture and you know, be around the actual fans and get to experience that, what it's like to, you know, be a quote unquote, you know, like celebrity in Japan. So I think being able to experience that, you know, full on would be pretty cool. And
I like to see you kick El Phantasma's ass again. I like to see you do
who is this?
El Phantasma. I like to see you kick his ass again.
Oh yeah, that's coming. That's coming.
You owe him a receipt, man. You know that. But now, obviously, I'm assuming junior division. Could you see yourself heavyweight division against Okada, Naito, those guys?
I could. I could.
Oh, you kick Will Ospreay's ass. Come on, you know that.
Yeah, and if you
should be in this match this weekend or next weekend, that freaking stuff they did. We're going.
Yeah. No, I've never been shy to wrestle, you know, people 2, 3, 4 times my size. I mean, if you follow my career, you've seen me get, you know, beat up and tossed around and pick guys up, you know, over my head like Keith Lee. You know, I'm fully prepared to do what it takes in order to compete within that heavyweight division. You know, because I've wrestled some of those guys in that division before on the independent scene. So, you know, who's to say I can't do that again within New Japan?
So I have one final question from me. I don't know what Josh wanted to do after that, but if Brett Lauderdale called you to do a death match with Nick Gage, would you do it?
No.
No.
Oh my God! No. Let me tell you something.
He thought about that one before.
No, let me tell you something. I was at that Downward Spiral show in Vegas. By the way, it was like 1 billion freaking degrees in there. Like Chris Bay couldn't even stay in there anymore. He went outside with the shirt off and was like just talking to people. It was so hot in there. And I'm like 7 rows back next to my buddy. He's not even there next to me. He's in like the rampway, and they're in a death match, and the light tube goes flying and grazes my arm. And I said, what the hell? And then I got involved in the AEW match too, the Anarchy in the Arena. My dad saw me. Eddie Kingston got mustard all over my sneakers. I was so pissed. I was like, my dad goes to me, oh, I hope they're paying for your dry cleaning. I said, yeah, you're funny. Okay, that's great. Yeah, you're hysterical. But listen, like I said, Leo, I think you have the right mindset, the right trajectory to have an unbelievable continuous career that you've had already, and the music stuff is great. My last question: are you Jay White's mystery opponent this next weekend at Forbidden Door? You're not even going to answer that.
I wish I could tell you yes, because I am looking forward to wrestling Jay White. You know,
I'd love to see that.
We tag together a lot in Ring of Honor, and I think the history is there, and it would be pretty cool if that got to happen again, but in, you know, hopefully in a New Japan ring, and hopefully for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship.
I love it. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Yeah, great. Now watch. Now Cassidy's gonna go running. Leo Rush says New Japan's a favorite.
Hey man, hey, I'm shooting for the. I always got to shoot for the stars, man. You know me. Come on now.
Let me tell you something. There is no shame in that at all.
What are we doing this for?
That's what I'm saying. Listen, like by the way, I greatly appreciate you, Lyle. Appreciate you always coming on. And thank you for reaching out. Seriously, we're so glad we got to do this and everything like that. In all seriousness, like I said, even outside the wrestling ring, you know what I'm saying, or just at a concert, if even just get together and hang out and shoot the shit and everything like that, just to chill, man, for sure.
First round on me.
And everything like that. So, you know, for sure, man, when you're in New York, let us know. We'll be on the lookout for it. Don't be a stranger. Come on the show.
I'm actually going to be in New York on the 28th to the 3rd. So let's definitely try to do something.
Oh, dude, let's definitely do something for sure, 100%. Alex won't be there. Alex lives in Florida, but you know, whatever. He hasn't been on the show like a month and a half anyway because he's got his new overnight job. So it's like he's too good for us now. But no, but Leo, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Pro wrestler and musician Leo Rush with his new album coming out next Friday on the 24th. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. The first album kicked ass, and this one's going to be even better. Leo, have a great weekend, man. Say hi to the family for us, and have a continuous great next few weeks with the announcement and everything like that. All right?
Yes, sir. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Leo, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Leo Rush, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we definitely, like I said, we wanted to take that time for sure. We went over. Listen, we were allowed. I'm thinking we're good for 5:30 next weekend because I'm home Friday.
I might be good, yeah. I have to double check, but
You better double check because if you don't double check, guess what's happening? I'm starting the show at 5:30 by myself because that makes me the king of kicking your ass.
Oh, no, I'm the king. I'm the king. I have a crown, okay? I have a goddamn crown. I will be the king.
Okay. But
my crown is on par with the WWE crap of a crown they have.
You know, for sure. And I completely forgot to ask Leo how you can reach him on social media, but I'll do it for him and everything like that. You could tweet him at Leo Rush. He's got his Instagram account and everything like that as well. So you could definitely reach out to him for sure. Very excited. Want to thank Joe Galley again. That was amazing. These were two unbelievable guests.
They were great interviews, yes.
They were both awesome. Both are not going to be strangers to this product for sure that we're doing. And we're going to continue the great wrestling throughout next week. I don't believe there's any wrestling this weekend. There's nothing going on. You got Forbidden Door next week. And then
I believe so.
I think that's it. I think after Forbidden Door, that's it. I don't know when the next show is. I think it might be Money in the Bank. So we'll see. But we got to thank Joe Galley again. Got to thank Leo Rush again. Always a pleasure to have Leo on. And it was so great to meet Joe tonight. Lyle, have an unbelievable, great weekend, man. I'm glad we got to stay on. Speedy, thank you so much for extending it as well. Seriously, in all seriousness, thank you to Speedy for staying on. You know how busy he is and everything like that, for continuing to do a great job producing. So, for Alex Lowe's, for Speedy Petey, for Lyle Gillen, I'm Josh Silver. We don't even need finishing moves tonight. Those were awesome enough to be our finishing moves, just to be appreciative of those two guys that came on tonight. Have a good night, everybody. Have an amazing weekend. Enjoy it. If you celebrate Juneteenth, have a happy holiday on Monday with that as well. And we will talk to you next Friday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, whether Lyle's there or not. I'm the real king of badassery here, okay? So I'm going to be the one that's on. So it don't matter if he's on or not. He knows it too. We'll see you next week, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good one and have a great weekend for Lyle and for Josh. Kenny Omega, take it away, man. Have a great weekend, everybody.
I must bid you adieu, so say with me now if you know it. Goodbye, and good night.
Thank you for listening to Off the Mat on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, your source for all things wrestling and sports entertainment. You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.